recording just so I don't forget.
So I'd like to call to order the Board of Public Health Zoom meeting, Tuesday, November 7th. Cohasset Board of Health, 2023, 6 p.m. This is a Zoom virtual meeting and it will be available on the town website. All votes will be via roll call vote. The public can attend using the mobile connection or the Zoom meeting connection on the website. So I'd ask for a roll call, those who are present. Marcia?
Marcia Lewis here.
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, present.
Paul Schubert, present. And we are open. So the two items that are that are on tonight are
85 Fair Oaks is up first.
Yep, 85 Fair Oaks, variance request, and Merrill Engineering will be joining us. The other is 670 Chief Justice Cushing Highway, septic upgrade, and Morse Engineering will be joining us. So we'll start with 85 Fair Oaks. A variance is requesting. A variance is requested, rather, and Merrill Engineering will join us. So Pam, I'll tip it off to you.
And Carmen Hudson's here from Merrill Engineering. And Carmen, if you'd like, I can share my screen. Would you want me to do that?
Whatever you'd like. I'm prepared to share mine as well. Good evening, everyone. I am Carmen Hudson from Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. I am the engineer for this project. I am joined tonight by one of the homeowners, Dylan Lancilotti. He and his wife, Melissa, own the property at 85 Fair Oaks Lane. And I am not sure if their architect, John Teriaki of Teriaki Architectural Design, is on as well. This is the plan. On the left-hand side of the plan, you can see the existing conditions. The septic system in the back is this area that you see that is hashed in gray. So Pam, if you don't mind, yep, right there, all of that area is the existing septic system. There is a septic tank, which is horizontal, so it would be parallel to the septic system. And then there is a pump chamber. As you can see, the driveway, it's a paved driveway that goes over the septic tank and over the septic system in the back. And it turns to a garage under in the back of the house. What the homeowners would like to do, and this is on the right of the plan, is to move their garage. So they don't want to have a garage under in the back. They would like to have a garage on the first floor in the front, exactly, and it will have living area above. So they will not need such a long driveway. They are proposing to remove the paved driveway and replace it with a new paved driveway that will serve the front doors of the new garage. So the pavement over the septic tank and the septic field will be removed. However, this garage is going to be on a slab foundation, and the slab foundation is going to be located, as you can see, we're trying to match that rear right corner of the house. And that distance right there to the closest tank is 6.3 feet instead of 10 feet. So 10 feet is required, 6.3 feet is proposed, and that is the variance that we are requesting. We already have been in front of the Conservation Commission. This project did not trigger a stormwater permit. What we needed, we filed an RDA for some grading and that removal of the pavement within the 100-foot buffer zone. We received a negative determination, which means that we do not have to file a notice of intent for this project. So if anybody has any questions, I would be very happy to answer them at this point.
So I have one question. The septic system now currently looks like it's covered by the tarmac of the driveway, correct?
Yes.
Are there any I guess my concern is when they're digging it up, that they don't disturb the current septic system below. Is there a permit or an inspection before and after to be certain that the existing septic system is not disturbed?
There is no inspection per se. This requires obviously a building permit, but I am not aware of an inspection. However, any contractor would be responsible for the integrity of any part of the system, because that would obviously it would affect the integrity of the system. So I don't know if something that I could do, and maybe it could be a condition of approval, I could add a note also to the plan, requiring the contractor to, make sure that all of the components are not damaged through the removal of the pavement.
Yeah, I mean, that's my only concern. I mean, I think the location, if anything, it's probably better not to have a driveway over a septic tank and a septic system. But when they peel it back, I would worry that they may disturb it looks like it's a leach field, I guess is what it is.
Yes, it is.
I would be worried that they would disturb the leach field. That's all.
Once again, what I can think of adding would be a note to the plan.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Nope.
I guess my only other question is about the living space above the garage and how that is going to be used.
So I don't know if John Teriyaki is here. Pam, I don't know if you have to make either John Teriyaki and or Dylan Lancilotti panelists. Also, John is. Mhm.
Yeah, I'd be happy to weigh in on that. John Teriyaki Architectural Design. The house currently has 3 bedrooms on the second floor and 2 bathrooms. And the way we're expanding the addition is maintaining the number of bedrooms as still 3 total bedrooms. So we're adding a primary suite over the garage and reconfiguring the second floor to create essentially open sitting areas and eliminating one of the existing bedrooms while we're adding the new one. So the number of bedrooms is not changing.
Thank you.
Any other comments? So I think the only thing is from the point of those 3 bedrooms, that's the septic system maximum is a 3-bedroom septic system. Is that correct? Okay. So I guess, is there any more discussion or questions or concerns? Then I would ask for a motion for local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.211 parentheses 1 to allow a reduction from 10 feet to 6.3 feet behind the slab foundation of the septic tank. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion for a local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.211 parentheses 1 to allow a reduction from 10 feet to 6.3 feet between the slab foundation and the septic tank.
Is there a second?
I second.
And ask for a vote. All in favor, roll call vote. Marcia?
Marcia Lewis, I.
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
Paul Schubert, aye. And the motion passes. There are no votes. So I would just ask that the follow-up would be that the contractor makes sure that there's no disturbance of that leach field in the system, because that would be a bit of a problem.
Understood. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next up is 610. Next up is 670 Chief Justice Cushing Highway Septic Upgrade. Presby Enviro Septic and Morse Engineering will be joining us. I'll turn it over to Pam.
Hi, James Garfield is here from Morse Engineering, and James, I can share my screen.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, so yeah, again, James Garfield with Morse Engineering, here tonight for the septic repair at 670 CJC. And this is an existing 3-bedroom single-family dwelling, which is currently serviced by 2 failing cesspools. They're currently breaking out into the lawn. We're proposing to replace that system with a 1,500-gallon septic tank, 1,000-gallon pump chamber, which will then be pumped up to a Presby Enviro Septic leaching field. Which is why we're in front of you tonight. Presby systems are an innovative and alternative technology. And we're proposing that essentially to lessen the mound, which will be created from this system. Presby, you're allowed to use the innovative and alternative technology credits to decrease the separation to groundwater, which is what we're utilizing. You can see that we're surrounded by wetlands on this site, and the septic has to be centrally located on the lot, unfortunately, in the middle of the lawn area. So again, we're just essentially trying to lessen that mound, to lessen, the grading and drainage impacts to the site, as well as the aesthetic side of things. So we believe it will be a great improvement from what's there today, and pass it back to you for any questions.
Are there any questions? So I have a question. So you're basically pumping out the effluents. It goes to a almost a mound, and then from there it would kind of filter through, similar to I've seen a couple of houses on 228 in Hingham where they have a large septic system up front which is raised. Is that the design?
Yeah, so groundwater here is very shallow. It's close to the surface of what's there today. And so, the bottom of the septic system has to be so many feet above that groundwater table. And then, the system itself is so thick and there's cover over top of it. So just, by nature, it ends up being mounded up. But yeah, it functions like any other septic system. It'll be pumped up from the pump chamber to a D box, which will then flow by gravity into the leaching facility.
Any other questions?
Is there a local upgrade request associated with this project?
There is, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that. All we were asking for is a sieve analysis in lieu of a perk test, because the soil was so saturated at the time of the perk test, we had to take a soil sample instead.
Thank you.
So you'd be looking for a local upgrade approval, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions? So I'd ask for a motion then. So it looks like the existing single-family home has 2 cesspools. They're going to replace this with a upgraded system. Proposed that I'd ask for a motion for a local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.405 parentheses I to allow a sieve analysis in lieu of a percolation test. Is there a motion?
I make a motion for local upgrade approval under 310 CMR 15.405 parentheses I to allow a sieve analysis in lieu of a percolation test.
Is there a second?
I second.
And roll call vote, Elizabeth
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
and Marcia,
Marcia Lewis, aye.
Paul Schubert, aye, and the motion passes. Now, is there another motion needed for the approval of the septic design plan?
Yeah, you just want to approve the plan too.
Okay, so then I ask for a motion to approve the septic system design plan for 670 Chief Justice Cushing Highway dated 8/25/2023, revised 10/23/23.
I'll make a motion to approve septic system design plan for 670 Chief Justice Cushing Highway dated 8/25/23, revised 10/23/23.
And I second.
Second. All in favor, roll call vote, Marcia
Marcia Lewis, I.
and
Elizabeth
Elizabeth,
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. The motion passes. There are no votes.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, James.
You.
Have a good night.
Good night. So we'll go to the kind of the more of the minor details here. Approval of meetings from October 4, 2023. Is there a motion, or are there any discussion on the meeting minutes? No. I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes from October 4, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 4th, 2023.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, roll call vote. Elizabeth,
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
Marcia,
Marcia Lewis, I.
Paul Schubert, aye. Motion passes. There are no votes. Next one up is the meeting date. So go to my calendar here. So it would be December. Are there any particular days that work best? Is Tuesdays? Do they seem to work well?
So we are at
Probably the first week in December.
December 5th.
Yeah, the 5th. Would that work?
works for me.
Thanks for me. Yeah.
And Pam?
Yep, works for me.
Okay. So then why don't we set up for December 5 at 6 p.m.?
Okay.
Excellent. Next up is the, excuse me, Public Health Director report.
As I emailed you guys on Friday, I did go back to Feng Shui. I could see it's starting to deteriorate a little bit. But technically, since there were no live roaches, there was no violations, but I could see some dead ones under the usual suspect places, like under the dishwasher and under the 3-bay sink and in the storage room. So I just pointed out to them, like, it reiterated, they have to do the daily cleaning, I think they think like because they're dead, that's not an issue, but obviously you still have to continue to clean up every day. So I had the owner with me. It wasn't just the manager, it was the owner. And I pointed it out to all the places to him and said, keep it up, do this every single day. It looks like they're keeping up with their pest management. That's why we were seeing dead ones, not live ones. So that's good, but it's just really the cleaning. I have to keep going back there and really pushing them on the cleaning part of it. The other thing that we're working on is we're getting our opioid fund settlement money pretty soon. The town meeting is on the 13th. And one of the articles, Article 4, is hopefully the approval to move money out of the general fund and under the health department. And then once we get it under the health department, then we can start using it. So there's kind of like a guideline from the Department of Public Health on how you can use your money. And it can be prevention, it could be treatment of opioid use. So one of the first things you have to do is get a group together, and it has to include people that are actually in the treatment business. And you also have to find somebody, or at least one person, if not more, that have like a lived experience. Either they themselves have had opioid abuse issues, or maybe somebody in their family, a close family member. So we had a small meeting this week with me, Mary, Stephanie Saunders, and Nicole Balashi, Nicole's Safe Harbor. And we came up with a list of names of people to reach out to, and Nicole sent out emails to them and we got a really positive response. Everybody was very enthusiastic to join us. So it included people from East Coast Health, Evoke Wellness, just in other groups and a person with lived experience. So I think we're going to have a very strong group and we'll probably meet in December and start figuring out like what we should do with the money, whether it's scholarships perhaps to treatment centers because they're so expensive. You know, but there's like an opportunity to buy these boxes that have Narcan in them and we can put them around different various places in town. Places maybe like where we have AEDs already, we could have the box with the Narcan close by. So it'll be interesting to see what the group thinks, but it's exciting that we're going to finally get a hold of this money after all these years of talk and stuff. So it's just around the corner.
And I saw it as a line item. Is it like $30,000?
It's like 75,000.
75, okay,
Mhm.
because I saw that on one of the line items in the town warrant. I'm flipping through it now. I don't recall exactly, but 75,000.
Yeah, it's under section 4, and then there was like 4 items. We
Yeah.
were number 1.
Okay. Well, that's good news. That would
Yeah.
that'll help. Good. Any comments from the crowd?
How does that compare to what neighboring towns have?
I think, Mary, I think I've heard Susan Sarney say that Hingham's gotten 100,000. And I'm not sure what other towns have. Do you have any idea, Mary?
Yeah, I believe Hingham got close to 100,000, but I don't know about other towns. And I would like to hear from the board if you have any ideas, any thoughts on what you'd like to see, or if you see any, Paul, I don't know if you might see things in the ER that maybe we're not even thinking about, but.
I mean, you know, the biggest thing we see is fentanyl. I mean, that's the driving force for a lot of the overdoses. So I think anything that would interfere with, you know, the production and distribution and trafficking of it is probably good. You know, the Narcan works, so that may be one of the aspects there. There is, I know there's one other kind of a opioid type medication that's been mixed with some of the overdoses, and I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a modified analgesic that's in some of the overdoses. I can find out what that is from the hospital, probably from the ER director, and see what that is. If there's whether there's another reversal agent or other ways to combat that as well. Any other members?
I don't have
So-
any experience really with this field.
Yeah, nor do I.
If you come across anything that is, you know, something that you want to bring up, though, definitely, you know, call Mary, because this is, it's pretty much widespread, but it's a matter of, sometimes it's just educational. You know, we might be able to do education, and some of it may be actual intervention. I think it's going to be a combination to try to settle it down.
Is there a demographic? I mean, is it like high school kids? Is it older? I don't know anything about it.
Pam,
Well,
yeah.
I would say in town, it seems like Safe Harbor's done a really good job
Yeah.
of educating the kids 18 and under in schools.
Okay, good.
So I think typically when there's problems, it tends to be people in that 18 to 60 year range, which was one of the reasons why we made sure we got Stephanie to join our team when we had the overall public health excellence grant. It seemed like, you know, we had Nicole was covering the 18 and under group, and then there was always like a social worker in elder affairs. So there was this giant gap that was missing 18 to 60, who had their own set of unique problems and issues, and this was one of them. So it was a great start getting Stephanie, and then now this next step should help even more, I think.
Thank you.
I remember looking at this probably, I want to say about 8 years ago, when I was working on a grant through South Shore for the nasal Narcan, and the average age in Weymouth for overdose deaths was 38. So this is probably about, I think it was 2011 or 12 when it was going on. It was just a few years into the kind of the peak of it, but it was, I think the average was 38.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
That's all I had.
Okay, next is public health nurse report. Mary?
Yeah, so we had our final flu clinic on Saturday. We vaccinated 37 people uneventfully, so that was good. I still have some high dose vaccines, so if you come across anybody 65 or older looking for flu vaccine, I have it. I have 10 doses of regular, but I'll go through that. So that's good. Whatever's left, I can send back for a credit for next year. And that's about all I have to report. I also received 150 test strips for fentanyl, which I have in my office. And when Pam and I spoke to the health class at the high school, I was tempted to bring it, but I thought, no, I could be starting a world war here, so I didn't. But
So
that's all I
what is that like? You have some drugs and then you test it to see if there's fentanyl in it
Yeah.
before you.
Yes. Yeah, and they're really promoting it like on college campuses and even in high schools to like
Mhm.
be proactive about this, you know.
Mhm.
So
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
So Mary or Paul, is there any information on RSV prevalence right now, or is it going up, or I mean, I've heard almost nothing in the news media. I mean, aside from people being encouraged to get vaccinated, but what's the prevalence right now?
So I've been looking for the last month. I just go through the list of patients looking to see positivity. There's really not a lot. We saw a lot last winter. We'll see this winter. We haven't hit the RSV. It's a little bit later in the season, but we've had a handful. I think a total of maybe 4 cases at South Shore. That's probably more than what than you would see at this time, the same numbers, because we're bringing a lot more from Brockton. So I would expect that there would have been more cases to date, because we're seeing more from Brockton as well. So the hospital census is up, but we haven't seen all that many yet.
Are those, Paul, in young children, or are they people, older people?
These are over the 4 I've seen over the age of 70.
Okay.
I haven't heard of any. I haven't spoken to the pediatricians, but I haven't heard any young kids, and there probably were, but I didn't. I did just the adult population.
Okay.
And Paul,
Yeah.
what are we seeing with COVID hospitalizations?
So the last month and a half, it's been in the low teens. So this morning it was about 12. Yesterday was 13. Still have not seen a significant rise. Almost exclusively either under vaccinated or not vaccinated. So it's really skewed towards over the age of 75, under vaccinated, and typically a few risk factors involved, but nothing like we saw even last winter. Very few young under the age of 70 coming in.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but
Yeah.
we may be on the other side of this.
And what about vaccination rates? Because the national media is saying that so few people are getting the newest vaccine. Do you have any information on that?
It's only from my patients. I'm very pro
Right.
vaccination, so I would say 70% of my patients have gotten RSV. I would say 80 to 85, maybe even 90% have gotten the COVID XBB booster, and almost all of them get the flu. So probably 95% flu. We're in a bit of a bubble in New England because the uptake for vaccination rate is exceedingly high.
Thanks.
So any other comments or questions? So the RSV vaccine, it initially it looked like there was a supply problem, but I've been speaking to some of my patients over the last week and last couple of days. It looks like the availability is much better than it was even just a month ago. So it looks like the supply chain is starting to push it out. So I think that should help. And it's never too late to get the flu shot either. So I have no topics reasonably anticipated in advance of the meeting. I think at this point, any comments from anyone? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Okay, a second.
And roll call vote, Marcia
Marcia Lewis, I.
and Elizabeth,
Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, aye.
Paul Schubert, aye. Motion passes. We'll see you in December. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good Thanksgiving.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Have a
Good
nice
night.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yep.